Hello, this is a presentation on effective communication and career planning. There is a range of different types of media interviews in the world, which are done throughout an athlete's life. This is very important to know because there are various types of interviews. There's a post-match analysis, people who talk to their fans, and people who do stuff like talk shows to promote their work and what they've done in their careers. Now, in more detail, there are different types of media, and the specific ones that are more generally used in this world are things like television, social media, radio shows, and newspaper articles. The reason why this is used better than other things is because when we see television, obviously is what millions of people view into and what they watch. With social media, this is the generation that we have through technology, through Instagram, which millions of people have, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and etc. In radio talk shows, people use that when they're on their way to work in the mornings. Things such as that help broadcast an idea on. With newspapers, that's in various different places which you can pick up. Some are free, some are 25p, very cheap to get, and so it's very easy to read. Now, the two types of recordings that are really mainly used are pre-recorded and live interviews. Now, with pre-recorded, these are normally things that are planned beforehand. So if someone says something that they feel could be misconstrued or said wrongly, they can explain it better in the way they want to say it instead of just saying it in a live format, which they could say it wrong and it could give the wrong impression. Whereas a live interview is things like talk show interviews, such as things like the Graham Norton show, the Jonathan Ross show, things like that, or live responses back from what these celebrities or athletes would say. So in more detail, when it comes to media interviews and things like that, this is more generalistic. So things like public fans, when the public speaking to the public, some certain clubs can employ officers who will give more detail in the club on what has happened, what fans should say, what they feel, if they don't like the manager, if they do like the manager. So it's like a general thing with the public, with employees and the managers and coaches. That's coaches obviously and the managers get into conversation with their players to talk about the extension of their contract or the raise of their money to get anywhere. With officials on the pitch, they obviously have to make a decision what happens, and obviously if it's a good decision or a bad decision, that can aid to how people will react a certain way. So if a referee makes a bad decision or a linesman makes a bad decision and it interrupts the whole game, it can create a bad atmosphere with the players and the officials, which can cause strife and arguments. With agents, their job is to help their own client get to a better standard in their football career, so they can get to better places in their life and provide for their families. With sponsorships, that helps as well, with big companies like Nike, Adidas, Puma, which can help not only present yourself to a bigger standard, but help their club Also, when it comes to team colleagues, new people that are coming and joining the club, it's also good that the players that are originally there can show them the ropes around how the club works and how the things function, where things are at, to make them feel more welcome. So, which helps also with the media, as they show that the club that club that is doing that to the newer rebels make them feel more welcome. Now, when it comes to communicating, there are various ways of communicating, but the two most important ones are verbal and non-verbal communication. Now, with verbal communication, that is more obviously in the title is speaking. So, is telling someone the way you speak to someone shows off how you are really, the way you speak, how much you've been brought up, the difference in your vocabulary to different people. So, if you're on a talk show, like a live performance, if you're speaking with lots of slang and etc., they can tell that the background you come from is not really a background from elegance and high standards, but more of the rough parts of the street, because that's how more people talk this generation that we do. However, in the way you speak to them is very also important, because if you speak to them in a good manner, it can help the person that is interviewing you or talking to you feel more comfortable to speak to you in a more approachable way. But whereas if your guard was up and you were being very defensive and rude, they could back off and feel uncomfortable. Now, what most talk show hosts people tend to do, and most radio show people, they normally are very inquisitive when they're asking about the person, so they can find out more information, which will make more people in the public fans view into what they want to listen to. So there's two types of questions that can be asked, and that's a closed question, which is just can only be an answer of yes or no, or an open question, which can be expanded. That's a fucking... Now, when it comes to non-verbal communication, this is obviously without speaking, or if they are speaking, you are too far away to hear it. So it's things from what you see, how they are. So, for example, Wayne Rooney, in this picture, in my PowerPoint, you can see that he's using a swearing gesture, and his body language is very screwed up and angry. And by that, you can tell how people are really feeling at that moment. So most of the times, for example, in a football match, when a referee makes a bad decision and it's really a tense situation, you can tell by the players' reaction and their body language and their facial expressions and how they're feeling, which shows they have communication without speaking. Also, when doing these interviews, eye contact is very, very important. It is very important because by your eye contact can tell whether you're interested in a conversation or if you're really focused in it. For example, when you're doing a talk show host, if you're really looking into that person's eyes, and you show that you're concentrated very well. However, if you do it too much, it can be put as a more uncomfortable way. It can be seen in a more uncomfortable way, which can put the talk show off. But if you're flowing with it and you're showing the attention that they need, it can help you. It can help the conversation flow even more better than it was doing before. Also, the way your body language again. If you're crossed armed, if your arms are crossed and your face is all screwed up, but you're looking and your eye contact is anywhere, it can seem as a defensive. It can seem that you're coming off defensively, and that can show that maybe people will make the judgment of a rude person because millions and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people will be viewing this and be seeing how you are, because as they will not know how you are, the first impression really counts. Now, appearance is very, very important. Appearance is important because when you go onto these shows and when you go on to do these interviews, by the way you dress is how people can make a decision on how you are. And first impressions are very, very important. For example, if you're a male and you're going to one of these talk shows and you have a beard, and most men think it's manly and they like to keep it, but if you keep it rough and it's not really nice, people will think that you're a rough person. However, the most common thing that we do, especially for interviews for jobs and such as that, they like to do it clean shaven to show that you're a very clean person and you know how to conduct yourself. Also, the way you dress, make sure if you're a female, you don't want to be revealing too much to show that you have class for yourself. Also, the makeup that you wear, that you're fine with yourself and that you're not insecure, that why you would have to cover yourself with so much makeup and etc. etc. Also, the amount of jewelry you wear and those sort of things. This next topic I'm talking about in my presentation is about career planning, and this is for when athletes in football, as my client is, if they have to get to where they want to be in their career, and if that doesn't work out, a backup plan. Now, in career planning, that is very, very important. And as my client wants to be a footballer, as wanting to become a footballer is very popular, is also make sure that it's very, very hard to get to because there's so many people that want to become a footballer as well. So to help yourself to get to the position you want to get, you would have to have a very good set plan on how you want to make it there. And the best way I think to do that is to set goals for yourself and have and organize yourself properly. Now also, when you're doing career planning, it's very good to be very determined and motivated, because as a successful athlete, if you're determined and motivated, people will clock that on very quickly and show that your energy is good, and they would want to bring you a part of their team. Also, getting the right amount of attention, the good amount of attention is good. Getting a lot of attention is good, but it depends on how the attention is viewed. If it's good, attention is viewed in a good way, then it shows more people will see you in a positive atmosphere and they would want you to be part of their company or their club. But however, if it's seen in a bad way, so if the media sees you doing something bad, then that attention is not good for your publicity. Also, the amount of effort you put in what you do. So when you're playing a match, if you see that you're going against an opponent or a team that is said to be on paper much better than you, if it shows the amount of effort you put in, that also helps you as well by looking at other people. The public will love your hard work that you put in. And for my client Mushopi, he would have to put 100% in at everything he does, whether that means training, whether that means coming to all of the events that they say. That shows that he's a very serious candidate to join their club and why they would love to keep him. Also, having strategies is good because it helps with when having strategies, it shows that you're smarter than that other person, and the way you do your strategies can help you win matches or win whatever you want to do. So it's very good, especially in the game time for football. Having a strategy will help you beat tough opponents or players that you think are much better than you are. Now, athletes, when they're doing their career planning, they need to make sure that they're the top at their game. So they should always have the mindset of being the best at whatever they want to do. Which is also for my client Mashopi, as he's growing up doing football, his mindset should be to get to an elite level. And to always, when you get to that level, you will always need a backup just in case, because you never know what could happen. It's very unpredictable what can happen in this world. You never know if you could just hurt yourself and you could never play again. Illnesses could just come with you, or accidents, or family matters that could just demoralize you from playing football again. So it's very, very important that you have the right mindset and the right brain to have a backup plan. And the way I believe you can do that is by setting yourself certain goals. Career goals that are possible to do. You could set yourself a short-term target, a long-term target, or medium-term target. In those three, you could just set yourself a short-term target and a long-term target. For example, for Mashopi, a short-term target as a footballer would be to continue with his training and get his skill up to a level of a professional player. However, in the long run, as a long-term target, with the continuation of his training, he will try to get to the top level teams that play and be able to compete with older players that are bigger than him and stronger than him, and to get to the same skill as them, if not better, to exceed his talents, to get to different places that he wants to be. Also trying to get yourself into an international level, which is good for playing for your own country. That's very good for publicity as well. So it will also help you. And if you have the whole of the nation behind you, that can motivate you to be the best that you want to be or do what you need to do. So getting into an international level requires a lot of skill, which means the training that he needs to do has to be very intense and very good for him. Also from that, if you are not going to play in this country, but depending by the skill and the training you do, there are various other ways you can get football. Maybe it might not be in this country because there's different leagues that have different varies of difficulties. And if this is too hard for him, he can go to a league if he gets a scholarship in another country that could aid to him and help him get to the standards he needs to get before coming back to the Premier League. Because the reason why I say the Premier League, because it is seen that Premier League is one of the best leagues in the entire world. So by him going at a step, that can help him if he's setting himself certain goals. Also, if that does not work out, however, he could then try and see into other careers in football or in a sports kind of setting. And the things that he could do is things like physiotherapy, coaching, a fitness instructor, or a sports scientist. And that's like I said, it goes back to what you never know what could happen to you. You could be playing football one day and you could be playing in a match and someone could injure you really badly that could end your career for your whole life. And if you don't have a backup plan, that could just end you and your life will be very difficult. However, if you're learning for different things like physiotherapy or coaching or fitness instructors or sports scientist, if you get to the top of your tree, the best you can do, you can earn a good amount of money that can help you and get you wherever you want to be. However, obviously there are qualifications to get to these places. For example, if Mashopi, my client, got to a bad injury and decided to go into football coaching, there's various universities that you can go to learn this. But one that I found is called Angela Ruskin University. And what that thing does, it does courses in level 1, 2 or 3, or the FA level 1 course or the FA level 2 course or the FA level 3 course, which is very helpful as well. In the FA level 1 course in coaching football, this is the beginning of things, and it's just the general concept of the idea, and it tells you already that you will have a total of 43 hours of qualification time and 33 hours of guided learning. So what he will have to do is, as he's being taught that, and then he should go and do his own additional hours to get him where he needs to be. As the level of it is not that intense now, it will get harder, so it's better for him to do his own studying at home as well to help him get to where he needs to be so he can rank up the tables quicker and be picked by the biggest clubs in the world. The FA Level 2 certificate in coaching football is more about safeguarding children, emergency first aid, online laws of football. This is more general knowledge, but just in more detail. This qualification will provide a knowledge of how to carry out the coaching properly so that you're not making any mistakes, which also helps you, or your knowledge as a teacher teaching football. And the FA Level 3 certificate after completing Level 1 and Level 2, this is basically one of the top chains that will get you into the best clubs, because you'll be coaching games or like 11v11, youth, big adults, men that we're playing with. So that is why Mashopi should do his own research that can help him get to where he needs to be. Now, there's an acronym that I used for my client, which is, the acronym is SWOT, and it stands for Strength, Weaknesses, Opportunities and Threats. Now, the strength for my client when it comes to football is that when he is dribbling on the ball, he's very good with his feet and he's very quick. And dribbling is very, very important, because as a striker or an attacking position, which is like where he's likely to play, you will need to have good dribbling, because it's not all the time you're able to pass the ball. In a situation when there's two players coming up to you and trying to block you out, if you use your talent and your dribbling, that can help you get past these players, and that can also help you be noticed by other players. Also, when he does lose the ball, his work rate is very good as well. And having a good work rate shows that you have a good determination to get the ball and you have the right attitude to play for a football team. However, he does have some weaknesses. And one of the weaknesses that I pointed out when seeing Mashopi play football is that when he is shooting in his attacking position, he only uses his preferred foot, which is his right foot. And that's very good as well, because if you practice on one foot as well, that's great, because when you do have your conversions with that foot, you're most likely to score. However, it's not all the time that the ball will go on your preferred foot or things will go the way you want. If it's on his left foot, he would have to shoot his left foot, but if he has not trained with that, then he'd have to try to wait for his right foot. So it's a weakness that his left foot is not as good as his right foot, which is possible because there's so many players that can do that, such as Santi Cazorla, who plays for Arsenal Football Club. If you see him, he's right-footed, but he'll be taking free kicks and corners with his left foot. So it's a weakness for Mashopi that he needs to learn how to do, and to be able to use his both feet when dribbling as well. He also has lots of opportunities in his football career though, as he has scouts and his own agents. And if he speaks to his agents properly, if they do their job properly, then when he is playing at a club for a while and he's getting better than the club, so he's at a big standard and that he's better than the club maybe, then his agent's job should be for him to get him to another level, or his coach should bring him scouts that can get him opportunities to get to the biggest clubs, such as Manchester United, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and etc. However, there's also threats to this, and the threats are for football is that when he's playing his matches, he could get an injury which could actually end his career, and this happened on many occasions. So he needs to make sure that he keeps his body in a very good place, so that when he does get a bad tackle, his bones and his body is not just weak, that will just end. So he really needs to be careful, because there is threats that could happen to him when playing a match. Now his SWOT for his career plan, which we've gone through a little bit with Mashopi, is the strength of my client is that he's gone and learnt about the little general knowledge on the level 1 course. So he knows a little bit about the coaching and how you should conduct yourself when speaking, and he's very focused when he's listening to you. So he's very focused and he's listening. The weakness is that he has not done enough information to rank up quicker, because I told him, as I said before on the previous slides, that he should do additional work to know how to study about the whole course itself, so that just in case, as I said, you don't know what could happen, it's very unpredictable. He could hurt himself tomorrow, and if he doesn't know the information, it'll put him on a standby, and he really shouldn't be in that position. He should have a backup plan, so that if that does happen, he can exceed points and get to better places in his life. However, he does have some opportunities as he's playing football. So in that sense, he would love to be a coach or a physiotherapist, as I said, or a sports scientist. So he could just ask one of his scouts or his agents or his coaches who know more about what he wants to do, and then he could get to where he wants to be. Lastly, there's also threats that can happen in career planning, not just that you don't have to be doing sports for a threat to happen. It can be an illness that could just come from family heritage, and that could just kill you off, hopefully not. Or a disease that could help you and make you sick and not well enough to coach people. Or maybe you're driving and you have a car accident, so you have to be really careful. But that's different threats. Also, if he's not doing his job properly, someone else could come and take his job in an easier place, who've done more adequate learning about what they need to do. and that would push him aside, which he would not want. Lastly, the confirmation just goes back to the set goals, and this is what I really think that Mashopi, my client, should do the most, as he's setting his goals from the start for his career plan and for the sport that he wants to do. A short-term goal, a medium-term goal, and a long-term goal. And another example of this for football, he should, if he's doing it, he doesn't do that much. So let's say he's doing football, these are like, he would love to score maybe 3 goals in about 7 matches or 9 matches, for example. So put it a bit and make it a bit easier for him. And then when he's doing to a medium goal, maybe to score 3 goals and 2 assists in 7 matches. And for the long-term goal, to have everything done to score maybe 7 goals out of 7 games and about 7 assists in one match, or to do better. So to get to the max you want to do, that would help him the max to the best of his abilities.